So welcome everyone to this solutions webinar on model-based definition 2017.
Okay, we'll get going, and I just wanted to again thank everybody and welcome you for coming in to sit in on this webinar. We will get started on the actual presentation. Just wanted to chat a little bit about a couple of other things before we get moving. Today, Vicki Guinard, she is one of our technical solutions experts here at Javelin. She will be showing the demonstration in just a few minutes. Vicki brings over 7 years of SOLIDWORKS experience to Javelin, and she's been with us for 2.5 years, so she's been doing a lot of great work on the technical solutions side, as well as being responsible for all of our DS SOLIDWORKS software training in Western Canada. So thank you, Vicki, for helping out with all the training. My name is Nita Sharma. I'm a solutions account manager here at Javelin. I've been here for 10 years, so I've been around the block a couple of times with Javelin products and DS SOLIDWORKS solutions. So we hope that you get some good information today, and please type in any questions that you may have along the way. So just a little bit about solutions for every stage of your product life cycle. At Javelin, we did a lot of work to determine some main categories that all businesses have, and so most businesses do follow this model. The first part of this whole process are your people. It's your largest investment, and it is your competitive edge. So in order to get the most from this investment, we want to make sure that you trust and invest in all of the people that are in there doing your design work. Once you're able to do that and the people are able to create more ideas and concepts and do all of that, then the bottom line is healthier, and the company and the people inside that company are very happy. The next part of our wheel is technology. As most of you already own some of the technology that we're able to provide, we want to make sure that you can optimize this technology. We know that when you implement certain parts of technology, it increases the productivity, and it can keep you a few steps ahead of your competitors, which is what you want. You want to be the first one out there. So we're always looking for the next best thing that we can talk to you about, that we can help you implement, just to make sure that there is a positive impact on you and your business. Once we move out of the technology, we move into your processes on how you work through things. And at Javelin, we want to help you standardize and automate some common processes so that we can reduce your effort. We don't want you to spend a lot of time on administrative work and, time-consuming practices that really don't get you any further. So some of these things are part numbering, project folders, SR and ED tracking. These are all very tedious processes. So if we can help you automate this, all of the time spent there can move over to innovation and creating new products. And we also are connected to a lot of industry leaders, and we have talked a lot about 3D printing and how it's being used in design and manufacturing. So we'd like to kind of help you get moving on that through technology and process. And then that's where we kind of slip right into the manufacturing with the 3D printing. This is where you make your money. When the product walks out the door, that's when the wide world has your product in their hands, and that's where you invest again. So we start right back at the people. So we want to make sure that you have accurate information with all of those that are actually making and building your product, and make sure that everything exceeds any quality requirements that you have. And then we run right back into people. So we do have this full process, and in any step of the way where we can help you, we will definitely ensure that we've got the right information for you.
So if you're simply not satisfied with your current processes when it comes to communicating your designs, then maybe it's time to look at going paperless. And that's where model-based definition can help. So today I'm going to take you through 4 key topics. So we're going to start with what SOLIDWORKS Model-Based Definition is, MBD. I'm going to go over the new 17 features with you. Also, we're going to go over how to create manufacturing information and those new tools when it comes to that topic with 17. Then we're going to move on to organizing and communicating that information. And then as of 2017, we now have a new tool to compare our designs with older revisions or newer revisions and so on. So let's get started. So let's start with what is MBD? What is model-based definition for you? So what MBD is, it stands for model-based definition, and it's an integrated drawing-less manufacturing solution for your SOLIDWORKS 3D design software. So what MBD does is that it guides the manufacturing process directly inside of your 3D environment. So that will end up removing the tedious task of creating all those 2D drawings. So what you do inside of your SOLIDWORKS environment, your 3D environment, I should specify, you can define, organize, and then after publish all of your 3D PMI, including your 3D model data in industry standard file formats such as e-drawings, 3D PDFs, or Step 242, which are new as of this year, right from your SOLIDWORKS interface. Also, MBD publishes widely accepted file formats, like I just mentioned, like e-drawings, 3D PDF files, and those files are often used in existing processes, so you're not going to have to derive from common processes if you start using the tool. So let's move into how we create that manufacturing information inside of model-based definition. So what we do with MBD is that we work with the DIM Expert tool, and we can add nodes, critical information to our 3D model, and then we snap 3D views. Then we're going to use those 3D views inside of our 3D PDF. So let me just fire up SOLIDWORKS here. And I'm going to open this part. That's the part we're going to be working on. So we're first going to take a look at some of the enhancements 17 brings to the way we're going to create the information with this part. So if I open up the 3D View tab here, so SOLIDWORKS MBD is fully integrated inside of your SOLIDWORKS interface. As you can see, it's just another toolbar like you're used to, so it's very easy to learn. And with the added bonus that you work with the DIM Expert tools to add your critical information. So I just want to make sure that we're going to see those dimensions. I accidentally turned those off. That would help. And we're good now. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a view with the critical information for this part. So we can automatically create polar dimension schemes. For example, if I wanted to dimension this pattern of holes here, I can go to my auto dimension scheme tool, choose if this is a part that is prismatic or turned, what kind of tolerance I want, if I want geometric plus and minus tolerances type or just geometric, and then the pattern dimensioning, if I want linear or polar dimensions. We'll say polar for now. And then I simply choose my datums. So my primary datum would be this face, my second this one, and then what it is do I want to dimension. I'll select that whole pattern, and then I simply accept that, and MBD takes care of the rest. So it's going to add all of the critical information for me, place the datums on the faces that I've got selected with the geometric tolerance symbols to those faces. Now you have full control over the accuracy or the precision of those dimensions. When you first create your dimensioning scheme, you create templates that you can work with, and then it's always going to use those. You can also manually change each individual accuracy or precision of those dimensions manually after the fact if you need to. So it's very, very simple to work with. And it's also very easy now to reuse the datums we just created. They made a lot of enhancements this year to just reuse what you have already created. So for example, if I wanted to reuse these datums for another feature, I would simply go to my auto dimension scheme again, This time I'm going to do a linear pattern dimensioning and then simply reuse those datums that we selected. So that's my first one, then my B datum. And then what do I want to dimension? I'll choose this whole. And then again, simply accept this. And model-based definition takes care of the rest, dimensioning everything for me. Also, 17 simplifies the process of creating dimensions manually. Sometimes it is necessary to add those dimensions manually. You can now select edges just like you would inside of a normal drawing. That's going to save you time and effort instead of having to constantly rotate your part and look for those faces or access those faces. You can now simply select the edges that you need. For example, if I needed a location dimension or a size dimension, I could select these two edges simply like this. So you don't need to work with the auto dimension scheme. You can also manually insert your dimensions one by one. It's really up to you. You have full control over how you want to add those dimensions to your file or to your model. You can now also add basic dimensions to edges. So if I just go size dimension and select this key radii, very quickly it's going to add those dimensions. A great new enhancement also this year is the ability to dimension to reference features. When I say reference features, I'm talking about planes, axes, points, and even the center mass symbol here. So if I do just a basic dimension from this face to the center of mass, there's my dimension. So that means that you can really more accurately describe your design intent within your model. Also, as we're doing this, we're creating our 3D view. So I can capture a 3D view, which is my new view here. And another enhancement this year is that we have the ability to reorder these views. So if I toggle between these views, and let's say I want one to be before the other just to communicate, let's say or emphasize the manufacturing process a little bit better, I can simply drag my views around and reorder them as I wish. I can also, we also now, have order sets that we can order our views by configuration or display state or by history, so which one was created first or last. And another great enhancements is that previously we could only have or create one single 2D notes area. So in 17 that limitation is now gone, meaning that you can now deliver personalized notes to individual views or individual 3D views. That brings us to our next topic. I'm just going to open another part here. I'm going to open this motor housing component. So the accurate definition of drafted components for casting and molded parts has always been very challenging, either with SOLIDWORKS alone or with MBD. And what 17 brings us is new tools to help us dimensioning particular areas of a drafted part. So for example, if I wanted to know the diameter of the intersection of the drafted surface here and the end face I have here, that would be quite complicated with SOLIDWORKS alone. With MBD, we can now easily create that with what we call the intersection circle between two surfaces. So I'll just create a location dimension from here. And then from here, actually I did that wrong. Select this face, I want a location dimension between this face, yes, and then create that intersection circle to this, where this circle is. So it's going to find that intersection and create that intersection circle for me. And then I can dimension this. Okay. The next thing we can do is create a section view and recreate that intersection circle, but this time inside of my part. So I'm just going to create a section view so that we see the drafted surfaces on the inside here. And then I'm just going to show my plane here so that we can dimension to that plane. So I'm going to do a size dimension actually, and then click the surface here, the drafted surface. And then create an intersection circle, to where this plane is, and then accept that. And that again is going to create that intersection circle for me and give me that dimension exactly where the intersection happens. So again, great tools just to make your whole design process easier, or communicating your design easier. With the new capability to dimension to those circles, you just have so much more control over the definition of your drafted parts. Another great enhancement this year is the ability to change the scale of all those dimensions. Whenever you're going to be working with very large or very small parts, you're working with a default scale, and sometimes that can be quite off. And previously, the scales that you could work with were just presets. You couldn't manually enter one. You now have the option to type in that sketch. So if you go to your options, under your document properties and under the detailing portion, right in here you can change this text scale manually. So let's say I could just change this to 5:8, or ratio from 5:8. Click OK. And that just really helps when dimensioning very small or very large models. So again, just great improvements this year to make your whole life easier. So we've talked about how we create that manufacturing information. I showed you a couple of enhancements that we have this year. Now we're going to learn how to organize and communicate that information. So some new enhancements there. So generating 3D views, create a 3D PDF, and how do we manage that information? So if I come back here, I'm actually going to go back to that other part, that bracket part that we had. It's a little bit more complete for my 3D PDF. And let's look at some improvements on how we can communicate all that critical information that we gathered inside of our views. So first we're going to talk about the template editor. So the way it works, we work with 3D PDF templates. We have the 3D PDF template editor tool here, which will let you control just which information you want where when you're actually going to create or publish that 3D PDF. So a lot of enhancements this year when it comes to text and aligning and just making your PDF look great. So we have full control, better control, over the text size and fonts. It's now much easier with that direct control. Whenever I select a notes area, we now have a pop-up window which lets you control the fonts and sizing and so on. Just another great enhancement here. We also have a new format painter, which will make your life much easier whenever you need a consistent look to multiple text objects. And we also have new alignment tools. So if I just escape out of here, Control Select, let's say these three, we now have the Align tool, which will help us make our template look just the way we want. So that's a little bit on enhancements about the template editor. And now we're going to turn our attention to publishing the PDF in a little bit more details. So 17 now gives you more control over the quality of the final 3D PDF that you are going to publish. So giving you a great balance between accuracy and performance. And another amazing enhancement is we now have the ability to attach files to our PDF. For example, if you had a vendor approval sheet and you wanted to attach a step file for this to your 3D PDF, you can now do that. So that really downstreams consumers to manufacture parts directly with just one 3D PDF. So basically when we click on our Publish to 3D PDF, what it does is that it's going to collect all of these 3D views that we created. So I'll just show you here. Publish to 3D PDF. You simply select all the 3D views you wish to publish along with a template you just created up here. And then your PDF is ready to go. For now 17, we have two new features. You can actually attach files. Let's say I did want to attach a vendor approval form like this one. I would attach this, and then I could create and attach a step file to this so that anybody who receives this 3D PDF could open the actual part in their previewer. It could be the eDrawings previewer, which is a free previewer that you can download at any time, and it opens almost any CAD formats. So some amazing improvements here. Let me just show you what the final product would look like. Here is our published 3D PDF. So you can toggle between 3D views here just like you would in your normal 3D environment. I can actually rotate and manipulate this just the way you would in a 3D environment. Right. So this is also free, by the way. Anybody who publishes a 3D PDF or wants to view a 3D PDF, they simply need to download the free Adobe Reader software, and they'll be able to view your 3D PDFs when you send it to them. Now let's look at what we have attached to this. If you go under the attachment tab up here on my left side, you'll see that it's actually attached the step and the vendor approval form to our PDF. So just one quick 3D PDF sends all the information needed to manufacture this part. It's really, really great. Oh, this one here. And lastly, we're going to talk about comparing. So we now have a 3D PMI compare wizard that will compare two different files. It works really, really, really well. So in the scenario where there are multiple iterations of a design and the changes between them may not be so obvious, SOLIDWORKS or the model-based definition will find those changes for you. So usually you would have your engineers study marked up 2D drawings either with highlighters or with a pen, and that is time consuming and it costs a lot of money. But now with the new 3D PMI compare wizard, that's going to take the whole pain out of that process. So let me show you how that works. If we come back here, I'm just going to close those open files. So what you do is you open the files you do want to compare. I won't save all of this. There we go. So now I'm going to open two files that I wish to compare. So this one and that one. Click open. And I'm just going to tile one to the bottom and the other one to the top, so we can see both, like this. Okay. A little bit higher. Okay. So our 3D PMI compare tool is under our MBD toolbar. I simply click 3D PMI compare, and then I'm going to ask it to run the comparison. So what you do is you tell it which one is the reference document, which one is the modified document. Hit run, and what it's going to do is going to find all the unique elements will be highlighted in purple, as you can see. So for example, the position of that slot here is highlighted in purple. Any modified data will be shown in green, such as these subtle changes that we see here. Oops, there. And right, so all the purple will be the unique elements, and the green ones would be the subtle changes that happen in your dimensions. For example, that material condition changed here. So finally, once you do that, you can actually have all of this information available to you in a report. If you come here and click Save, you can save this to an HTML report that could be used in design or manufacturing reviews. Very, very, very great tool. I wish I had this years ago. So those are that's not the right one. So those are the 2017 enhancements that we have this year. If you would like a more in-depth demonstration of the add-in, please let us know. We'd be happy to book a time with you. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat box now. I'll stick around for another 5 minutes. And yeah, so thank you all.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.